Sorry, I forgot to record for anyone who's watching on the video. Should I go back really quickly?
Yeah, like
Okay. Yeah, I'll just go back to this first slide. I just described in really simple terms version control and then the difference between Git and GitHub. So sorry if y'all missed that. But let's move forward a little bit.
So here's some keywords that you guys need to know, both for GitHub and GrabCAD. There's a lot, but basically directory is where you contain your files, repositories where you contain your files and history of those files. Pushings when you upload, so say I want to push to GrabCAD, that means you're going to overwrite the GrabCAD to make changes. And pools to download files. Clones a copy of a repository, a local copy. Branch is that's a variation.
Oh, sorry.
It's a variation of the main code that can be edited on your computer, and the main branch is the current main version of the code, and merging is just transferring changes from one branch to another. Yeah.
Okay. So, wait, where did these files did the order get switched around?
I don't think so. The GitHub.
Yeah, because I want to do the demo and then dip.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So
everyone, we have Akash. He was an excellent lead from last year.
The legend just joined us.
A legend.
So yeah, we're gonna do demos for GitHub. Or you want to do a little introduction?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hi everyone. My name's Akash. I graduated from UCLA in June, and then I was one of the 2 X1 leads last year. And yeah, we got to a point where we needed to learn GitHub. So I think I first taught it to the targeting team for Guardian last year. So as you can see, I did teach Hayato and Zach this. But yeah, I'm basically going to be sharing the same thing I taught them now. So I could share my screen.
You should be able to
wait.
share your screen.
I think you need to get off share screen.
Oh yeah, you're right.
All right.
Yes, I am Zoom expert. Thanks everyone for being patient with me.
All right, y'all can see my screen. I got terminal open and all. Yeah. All right. So there are 2 ways to go about this. One, I'll show you with using like terminal, and then the one after that, I can show you with GitHub Desktop, which is probably easier in the cheating way, in my opinion. But yeah. So what I did first is I have 2 repositories set up, one called Guardian Demo, one called Broombot Demo. And basically, I'm going to start off with the expectation that I have this repository created and I have access to this repository, which is like how you guys will start with, because your leads will take care of that for you. So first, I'm just going to, I have some commands here that I'm just going to follow. So CD, I'm just going to go to on terminal. I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where I want this repository. So you guys could change that however way you want it. And then git clone, essentially, you're going to make a local copy of this repository. So you could find the repository link over here in code. It says clone, and here's the link. So I'm gonna just copy that. And then on terminal, I'm gonna just do git clone and paste that. So now if I do ls, I could do this too. So I have my folder view here. So when I did that git clone, I created the Guardian Demo folder. And essentially everything in that folder is going to be from my repository or from my local repository. What's next? Next, I'm going to CD into it. So now I'm inside the folder, which is basically the same as going to here. And then the first thing I'm going to do is check out my local branch. So let's say I'm on the targeting team and the code I do is for targeting related work for Guardian. So I'm just going to do git checkout minus or -b targeting. So the -b here essentially creates a new branch, and it's basing it off the branch you're currently on. So check that out. I'm on git branch. I'm on the main branch. So this used to be called master, but then GitHub became woke and changed it to main. So this is the main branch now. And essentially when I do checkout B, I'm going to be deriving the targeting branch off of my main branch. So now if I do git branch again, I'm on the targeting branch, but it also lists main branch as the other branch I have locally. So that's basically the initial setup. And now I'll just talk about like this. I penned it as the circle of life because I drew it on the board last year and it just seemed right. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Essentially, here is the circle. We have 4 endpoints basically. And on our laptop locally, we're gonna have, oh, I wrote this as master, I'll change it, but it's the main branch now. And then targeting, I have these 2 locally. And then in this figurative cloud, we like on GitHub Online, as you can see, we have a main branch, but we'll also have a targeting branch that syncs with my local targeting branch. So all the changes I want to make it locally in my targeting branch, and then I basically want to pass it around the circle. So we'll start with step 1. Essentially, once I'm in my local targeting branch, I'm going to make whatever changes I want. And then I'm going to add these files so I can commit them later. And then, yeah, it's basically the steps: add, commit, and push. What that does is it takes all the files you changed, and then it takes it up to here. And the next step is you'll actually do via the UI on GitHub, and that will basically be transferring the changes from the targeting branch and so-and-so cloud to the main branch. And then this is what is here right now, essentially. And then if what's going to happen is essentially you're going to have a lot of people on different branches for different parts of the project. So like targeting, and then legs, and then software, or whatever. So then they're all going to put their code and push it to master. And then what you're going to do here is locally, you're going to get all the changes that have been made to master and then bring it down here. And then you bring those changes and you slide it across to your branch. So that way, you bring it over to your branch, and you can also like make changes based off what other people did, if that makes sense. So just to go, well, I'll do a little example here using the commands. So first, git checkout targeting. I'm already in targeting, but I can just do it again. And now I need to make changes. So if I open up this file or folder, I'm inside the Guardian demo branch, and there's nothing here because right now in the repository, there's only this README file. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a file, or first I'm going to create a folder. What I recommended for Guardian software last year was we have a folder and branch with the same name, and then all the individual work for that subsystem or like group would be done in their own folders. So I'll do the same thing here. I'm just going to create a folder. And then inside that, I'm just going to have a temporary file. So then here, I'm going to make a change. So now that I have my changes, I could also view the changes or what's staged and not by doing git status. So here, it's clear if I go one more folder out, if I do git status, it'll tell me that the entire targeting folder is not staged, it's not tracked, which means it's new. So you have untracked files, which are like brand new, or like Git for this repository has never really seen it before. Then you have unstaged files, which means that you've made changes to those files, but you're not committing them yet. And then you have staged files, which means you're ready to commit those files. So what I'm going to do is just do git add -a. And what that does, it adds all the files that you'll see in git status ready to commit. So if I do git status again, it'll tell me that this file and technically the folder are ready to be committed. So next I'm going to do git commit. And then -m means you put a message in. So here I'm just going to say it's my first commit. And then the last thing is git push origin head. Origin head refers to it's the cloud branch respective to your local branch. So origin head here will point from this targeting to that targeting. So on the first time, since I'm doing this like from scratch, essentially when I do git push origin head the first time, it'll create that targeting branch up here first. So now if I refresh my page, I'll see that there's a targeting branch here. So the next step is the side step, and it's going to basically create a pull request online and merge changes. So right now we have this in targeting, but we want, like, let's say I want the other teammates to have access to this and work on it locally if they want to still follow this circle of life. So I'm going to bring it over to master or main. So I'm going to do a pull request, which is right here, the green button. And then, yeah, it's going to say it's from targeting going into main. First commit, and it'll tell you the file change. So here I have the text file that says hi. So everything looks good. When you're on a team, you might have your leads, like assign your leads as reviewers if they want to check the changes going into main. But for this right now, this repository is only for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and create this pull request and then merge it. So before, I just want to do this real quick and show you that we also remember that in main, it's just the initial README file. We don't have anything. So the moment we merge, it'll just change. So yeah, successfully merged and closed. So now if I refresh this, I have my targeting folder and I have the text file inside in main. So, and here it says merge pull request from Kosh Venkat targeting. So now the code change I made over here is up here now. But let's say we're in a scenario, it's hard to show the next part like just by myself because it's more for a team setting. But let's say there was other code from the legs branch that got pushed into master and we want everything. So now we're gonna update our local branches with whatever's up there in GitHub. So next is step 3. So we're just gonna go back to the main branch. So here, I'm gonna go check out the main branch. And if I do the main branch right now, it's gonna show me the same thing that I had before, only the README file, because the changes over here haven't gotten to here yet. So I'm just gonna do git pull rebase. And then you see that the targeting folder and the temp.txt file have shown up, and this is in my local main branch now. And then the last step to go sideways and update your local targeting branch is to check out targeting. And then you rebase the changes from main into targeting. So you just do git rebase main. So right now there won't be anything to show because these branches will be even because I'm just doing everything by myself, but it'll make more sense when you're working with multiple branches and multiple code changes. So yeah, that is the way to do it on terminal. And I'll do the same thing on GitHub Desktop. So for GitHub Desktop, yeah, you got to make sure you download that. So here's GitHub Desktop. And what you're first going to do is file, and you're going to clone a repository. So I think first you have to like sign in to GitHub to set this up, but it basically has everything synced. So you can see that I have the, where to go? BruinBot demo repository. So I'm going to clone that, and yeah, let's just put it to my desktop with the folder BruinBot demo. So now that it's cloned, let me pull up my folder. So now I have the BruinBot demo folder here too. So let's just make some changes here. Oh, so you can see that my current branch is main. So that refers to my current local branch for the main branch. And then, yeah, you have the README file, which was there already to begin with. So here, let's say, what subsystem? Let's just say I'm on the vision subsystem. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new branch. So this tells me that main is the default branch for your repository. Essentially, everything I do in this new branch I'm going to create is going to be derived off main. So let's just call it vision, create branch. So the branch, let me pull this up. So now this has been created essentially without doing these commands. Now that I have this branch, I'm going to make changes. So let's get here, and I'm going to create a folder. and I'm going to call it vision. I'm going to drag that into Bruin.demo. And now I have a folder there, and I'm going to create a text file. I'm just going to use terminal for that. And then another change. So now that that's done, if you go into GitHub Desktop, it'll show what changes have been made. DS Store, that's just something for Macs, but essentially Vision Test is a new file that it's seeing. So then here, that's what, having this as, like, let's see. If you see the green plus sign, that's essentially like git add. So then you're gonna just do commit. So you're gonna put the message here. So then you say vision first commit, and then commit to vision. So that's that second command right there. But then there's two things. One, this branch right here for vision hasn't been created yet. And two, I want the changes to go up to the vision cloud branch per se. So I'm gonna do publish branch. So now that it's on GitHub. And so that did, since it was my first time, it pushed the changes and published that branch. So now if I go to, oh, so you can see right here, it says create a pull request from your current branch. So if I click on this link, it's going to take me to the changes I made in Vision, and it's going to say, I want to do a pull request to merge this into main. So it pulls everything up pretty conveniently. It has the change I made. So I'm just going to go ahead and do create pull request. And then merge pull request. So now everything is up in, let's go to code. So now in the GitHub main branch, I have the vision folder and I have this other file that got added. So now I just need to bring it down to my local master. So I'm going to just switch my branch here to main. And then I'm just going to do refresh here, fetch origin. And it's going to tell me, hey, there are two commits that you need to pull. So I'm just going to pull. You could hit that or hit that blue button that was there. So now if I go to my folder, I'll see that in my local main, this is here. And then to do the last step, which is going to targeting, or sorry, vision, and then rebasing the changes, I'm just going to go into vision. And then I'm just going to say, choose a branch to merge into vision. And then I'm going to set that as main. So merge main into vision. So yeah, that's basically this circle of life, as I call it. And essentially, just even though that there's only 4 things here, keep in mind that there's going to be multiple branches flowing into master main. So it will make more sense when you have like more of that project setup going. The one thing that I'll show you what we did last year for Guardian software, but yeah, I'll get to that then. So here's some helpful commands for terminal for Git. So Git branch, let me pull up my terminal window. So Git branch tells you what branch you're on. So Git branch, I should be on vision. Oh, my bad. Okay, let's just do Git branch. So it tells me that I'm on the targeting branch. Git checkout branch lets me switch to a specific branch. So if I want to go to main, git checkout main. And then git status, as I showed earlier over here, it tells me what changes have been made. And then, yeah, and it helps me for when I want to commit. And then git diff tells me what changes have been made to a specific file. So you would just do git diff file name. Because I already committed all these changes, I can't show that right now. And then git add. So git add -a basically adds all the files you've made changes to and gets it ready for commit. But git add file name lets you just stage a specific file for commit. And then just some notes. So in this little circle, you want to make sure that your changes are made here in your local branch that's specific to you. And then before you make like a new set of changes, you want to do steps 3 and 4. So that way you're updated with other code from other branches. And then you want to go ahead and make your changes and then do steps 1 and 2. This is more specific to like if you are dealing with making multiple branches are making changes to the specific file. But yeah, So other than that, I'll just go to how Guardian was last year. So we have all these folders and we have branches to match these folders. And then everything was put into master. So yeah, dashboard had a branch and you had your own dashboard folder here. This worked for the Guardian software team, but when it came to Guardian targeting, we had like 3 members contributing to the same branch. So in that, if you have a specific situation like that, you could ask the leads to talk to me. I can give you more commands to basically set up a second circle of life where your own branch will merge into targeting. But I don't want to talk about that today because I'm not sure how many people that would affect. But yeah, that's the demo. I will give this PDF to Rebecca and Kenneth, and then they could pass it on as well. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. That is mega helpful.
For sure.
Big brain.
Yeah, all right. Big thanks to Prakash for that. So let's move back into the presentation. All right. Yeah. Here's a Prakash flexing the skills. And we're gonna move on. Is this on per person?
Oh.
Wait, Kenneth, is this you or me?
I could be the next one, but I could do this one too.
Here, I'll do this one.
Okay.
Okay. So a little bit of an introduction to GrabCAD. GrabCAD actually has a bunch of different parts to it. And the one that you see when you first open up, when you just go to grabcad.com, is GrabCAD Community, which is actually a useful tool, but it's very different than how we use GrabCAD generally. GrabCAD Community is basically a library of public free CAD models that are super helpful if you want to download them. Like a great way to use this is like, say that you want a model of a specific motor or of an Arduino or something that you're going to put in your CAD model, but you don't want to spend the time to actually CAD those items in detail because like you don't need that. Most of your time should be spent designing your actual part. So these are just quick like models that you can drop into your CAD. They're really useful. You can like preview them online, including a 3D viewer, which is really useful. And then there's a couple different ones that have this similar purpose, like Thingiverse, trace parts.
All right. So GrabCAD Desktop is basically version control, but for CAD files or for any files that you put on GrabCAD. It's a Git-based system for editing GrabCAD files. It's a lot more simple than Git. It automatically detects changes locally, and then you could see what you've changed before you commit and push to the GrabCAD. You also see the changes that your teammates, the other members will make, and you could select which ones to download and which ones to overwrite your system. It also keeps a log of all your changes. So for assemblies and the folders, you'll see like what changes have been made to which and how they're interacting with each other. A lot of this will become more clear when we give the demo, but it's very useful for tracking what changes that a specific member has made and how to overwrite other people.
All right. So I'm going to go into a little bit of a demo on GrabCAD. So let's go over here. So this is GrabCAD Community. This is what you're going to see when you first log in. So you can see in the top right, I have an account. You should all probably make an account in GrabCAD. That's just, with your own email. So right now I'm in the library tab. So as you can see, this is just like a homepage of popular models right now. And there's some really cool stuff. Like people upload really complicated things to GrabCAD, and I'm always kind of amazed because it's like, you made all of that and you're just giving it to me for free. I can't believe it. And I'm going to do a really quick demonstration actually on the difference between like using GrabCAD for things and using Thingiverse. So I have Thingiverse over here, which is really similar on its face. It's like all public free CAD files. But Thingiverse is a lot more like fun times 3D printing, like cool project based, and GrabCAD is a lot more serious. So I did this earlier and I thought it was really funny that if I search dog on GrabCAD, say like I want a statue of a dog to 3D print, I'm gonna get like the full Boston Dynamics spot robot, like maybe a robot dog or two, but mostly just gonna get like weird ass gear trains and like cool stuff. None of this is like actual dogs. Whereas if you go to Thingiverse and you search for dog, if it will load, there we go. You're gonna get, you know, what you'd expect of like actual statues of dogs, toys that are shaped like dogs. Here's like the cool one with the fire. Lots of different stuff, and you know, pages and pages of that. Of course, Boston Dynamics as well. But if you're ever like thinking that you want a fun model to 3D print, GrabCAD's probably not the place to go because they're very serious, very like full assemblies, full machines, that kind of thing. I did really enjoy this CAD of a hot dog bun, which apparently 24 people have downloaded, but it's like literally just a rectangular prism that has a hot dog bun pattern on it. And I love that someone uploaded that to GrabCAD. But anyway, what we're mostly concerned about is, this is the library tab. There's some other good tabs. Tutorials is very useful. But we're gonna go up to where it says GrabCAD community, and we're gonna go to Workbench. Okay, so here we have Workbench, which is specifically the project X1 Robotics at UCLA. And if we go in here, it looks a lot like what the online GitHub interface looks like, basically. Like you can see project updates, you can view the files. So you can go in here and you can look around, you can say, like, here's the Guardian. Something that I think is really cool is you can actually view the full model based on just a SolidWorks assembly. Like this wasn't turned into a step file or anything. This is just the SolidWorks assembly of the Guardian that was uploaded, and you can view it without having to open SolidWorks or anything. So I think that's really cool. And you can do a lot of the same stuff that you can do on GitHub just here in the browser. Like you can, well, that's not relevant. You can look at the history, and then you can upload and download files. But we actually ran into a lot of trouble with this last year because it's not quite as well, it's intuitive, but it doesn't really work very well if you're just downloading and uploading things using this website, because it doesn't record things in the way, record the history in the way that's really intuitive. So what we like to recommend people do is go up here and hit download desktop app. That will download the GrabCAD Workbench app, which is a much better way to keep track of your files. I was gonna uninstall it and then reinstall it for this demo, but it didn't really work. Like it kept me logged in. So I'm just gonna pretend that I downloaded it. It's gonna ask you some basic installation questions. Like, I think the most important one is it's gonna give a location on your computer where you're putting all your files. I just went with a default, which is like in the documents folder. I'll show you in a second. So we go in here. I think you guys can't see that because I'm only sharing the browser. Give me a second. So if I share this. So here's what the desktop app looks like, where I have my two projects over here. And then all it's got is these boxes, which is the stuff that Akash was showing you of like the local things that are on my computer and then the things that are in the cloud. So, and it's automatically checking and it's telling me I'm updated on both of them. Like I haven't made any local changes that aren't in the cloud, and no one else has made any changes that I haven't downloaded. And then down here, it'll tell me either I can open the folder or I can open the project. This will open it online in GrabCAD Workbench, where I just showed you. If I hit this, it'll go to the actual location on my computer. So I think when I installed this, I put it in like my local files, and then it just went into, it went into documents and then GrabCAD. So everything's located here, like the actual files are here.
We can't see the file directory.
Oh, heck. You're right. I'm only sharing one app at a time. Let me just share my whole screen. Sorry about that. Yeah. So can you guys see that now, this window with the files in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, here you can see that I have the files here. If I go in here, like here's all my assemblies with all my actual parts. I can open any of these, view them. So what I want to do is anytime I make a change, I'll just do it in here. I'll save it. So I'll do a little demo, kind of like Akash did, but I'm just gonna manually, like, let's say I decide to delete this logo. I don't want to make a file right now. I'm just going to do that. It's going to go, hopefully it will tell me. Yeah, file ready to upload. So what I can do is I can click on this, view details and upload files. So what it's saying is I deleted this file. So that's what it's showing it with the red bar right there, is it deleted a file. If I created a file, it would show plus. If I modified something, I think it would show like a different symbol. So it's basically saying, this is exactly what you did. Do you want to upload this so it affects everyone, right? And I can choose to do it or I can choose not to do it, right? I'm just going to hit undo my changes. I'm about to delete my work. So I'm about to delete my deletion of the file, but that doesn't bother me. So I could do that either way. And it's going to take some time. Okay. So now it tells me that I'm up to date. Another thing I can do is file ready to download. If I go here, Kenneth helpfully added this file for me. So it's showing this green plus means that he added something. I can check or uncheck it if I want to only download a couple of the changes that were made. I recommend that you just download everything because it's good to stay up to date. Download selected. So it's going to download that and it's automatically going to put it on my computer in the location that corresponds to where Kenneth uploaded it on the in the cloud. So when that's done, it looks like everything's fine. I'm going to go back, completed downloading, go back, hit open folder. And then I can see that he added this file, so workshop. So it's been put exactly on my computer where it needs to be. And the great thing about GrabCAD is that what it'll actually do is it'll do that with assemblies and sub-assemblies in SolidWorks. So if he uploads a part and he puts it in the Brew and Bot chassis subassembly, it will be downloaded and automatically go into my chassis subassembly that I already have. So I don't need to like download it and then move it into the right position, which tends to break SolidWorks whenever you do that. So doing this and using the GrabCAD Desktop app is much more intuitive than doing it online. So even though like the website is a good way to view what's going on, like I almost never will open this directly and try to like look at a part or download a part from it. Basically just download the desktop app and then that's it. Like you should be good. An important point though is that when you're using GrabCAD, here, I'm going to go back to this. I think we're done with the demo. So when you're using GrabCAD, one of the most important things is good communication because with GitHub, if like people accidentally make changes to the same file, you can go through line by line and like choose what you want to keep. But since CAD files are really non-linear, they don't work like that. So what you want to avoid is any situation where two people have edited the same thing in different ways, because the software is going to kind of freak out and it's going to be like, you have to choose. I think it's going to be say, you have to choose one of these changes to keep and the other one just gets trashed. So whenever you're doing this, you want to communicate and make sure no one else is editing the same file, basically. Okay. Okay. Kenneth, do you want to continue with this?
Yeah. So yeah, just what Rebecca said, always check for conflicts. We're going to be working on a team of, I don't know, maybe 30 other members for the art. So it's really important that you guys are aware of when you upload and download. So when you push and pull, if you ever make changes to another member's parts or assemblies, make sure to tell them, because if you overwrite their changes, their work might be gone, and then we'd have to go back and update the GrabCAD to a previous version. So a lot of people's work might be just erased. Always download before you upload. So whenever you open SolidWorks and you're going to work on your project, make sure you're up to date on the GrabCAD. This is just so that we can avoid anybody mistakenly overwriting other people. And if you make changes in the main assembly of your subsystem, make sure you check in with your lead, because there might be some parts or some mates that other people have done that you might undo, and it would just be a mess. If it's just a subassembly that is yours and your own, you don't have to check in with your lead, but it's always good to be kind of cognizant of all the changes made in GrabCAD. Also, always rebuild your assemblies before you make changes to a part, so that your part could be accurately reflected in an assembly. If you don't do this, sometimes you say you make a part shorter or a part longer, it won't be reflected in the assembly that you work on. And then once you save it and you upload it, it's just going to be different than what you expected it to be. And most importantly, don't override parts to another subsystem. When you kind of push to GrabCAD and you made a change to other people's work, it's going to have that recycling symbol. It's just like a circle. And that means that you're going to update another person's, or update parts on GrabCAD. If that part is another person's part, you might make unnecessary changes, and then their work might just be messed around with. Also, make sure that you don't override your own parts. So if you're downloading a conflict, GrabCAD's going to send you a warning and say, oh, hey, this part that you're going to download is different than the part that you currently have. Are you sure you want to do this? Always make sure that you're aware of what that is, what parts being made and what changes are being made before you download. This is all just to avoid kind of like everybody's parts get tangled together in the GrabCAD. It'd be really messy. So yeah, always pull before you push, and always check in with your lead before you make changes to assembly.
Yeah. All right, so that is the end of our demos and the workshop. Here is some basic information. Upcoming ASME events, as we know, Thanksgiving, not an ASME event, but it's pretty great. I'm excited. Our next social is going to be Cards Against Humanity Night. Very interesting. Monday, November 30th, 8 to 9 p.m. So keep an eye out for announcements about that. I think it should be in the newsletter. And then here's all of our social media. And the skeleton really, he enjoys the love that he receives via social media. So please endeavor to do that. And then this slide is just for fun. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I can go back to any slide if there are any questions, or I can answer questions directly. But I mean, look at him with that turkey. He's vibing.
He's popping off.
Vibing. Fun story how I discovered the skeleton is for unrelated reasons. I Googled skeleton vibing GIF because I needed one of those. And then I just found this entire massive collection of this one skeleton performing various activities. And I was like, well, now I have to put them all in the workshop. So there you go. Hope you enjoy. Do we have some questions?
Any questions anymore?
Okay, looks like we have a couple of questions. It says, if just experimenting with other files without an intent to commit, we should probably just copy to a different directory and work there, right? You can. I think if you're working, well, it depends, GitHub versus GrabCAD, I'm not sure. If you mess around with a bunch of stuff on GrabCAD, you see how it told me to review all the changes I was making before I uploaded them? Like, even if I deleted a bunch of files, I could always review those changes and choose not to keep them. It won't mess anything up until you make that push to upload it, and then it's available for everybody. So best practice probably is just to make your own folder and mess around with stuff. But even if you mess around and you make changes that you don't want to keep, it'll always give you the option to remove them. How many of those skeletons are there? I don't have an exact count, but that can be a fun job for you if you want to count them at some point later. And he is wearing proper PPE. He's not wearing any clothing, which I think is proper PPE, but other than that, yes. All right, any other questions or comments?
Also, I wanted to add one thing. When you guys set up your GrabCAD, they're gonna ask you to add a workspace. Basically, adding a workspace is linking a folder that you have existing to the GrabCAD. So when you make your GrabCAD, they're gonna ask you to link a folder, and then you can update your changes there.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone should be added. If you put your email in the sign-in form today, then we can add you. And that will give you basically a place to start, like a first directory. All right, anything else?
If I could just add one quick thing, if you don't mind.
No, go for it.
Yeah, so I would recommend, especially when you're dealing with like assemblies, try to like separate them into as many sub-assemblies as you can. And the reason I say that is, so like, let's say for something complicated, like all the robots that we work on with X1 and just in general, you have like, I'm gonna go off Bruinbot because that's the one I'm the most familiar with. So you have like drivetrain, payload, vision, chassis, electronics, you know, the list goes on and on. It's very helpful to have all these different sub-assemblies and then to have either Rebecca or Kenneth do the big, you know, mating of everything, like mating all the assemblies into one big assembly. That way, when you guys make your own changes and you push your own, you know, the things that you did to your parts, you don't have to worry about like, oh, this single mate got like destroyed because I changed this part and now everything is broken, which is awful. So yeah, I recommend you guys try to do as many sub assemblies as you can to avoid that kind of stuff. But other than that, yeah, y'all did great. Thanks for doing this. This is a presentation that should have happened a long time ago, in my opinion, in the history of ASME.
All right, yeah, thanks, John. Yeah, great suggestion. Please do that. We will do the nasty work of putting everything together and fixing when it breaks. All you should have to worry about is whether your own parts work in the moment. Yeah. All right. We've got more chat. All right. Looks like happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yeah. If you guys ever have any more questions, don't be afraid to DM me or Rebecca, and we'll help you with that.